Alrighty then, I took my flywheel off. Yeah, I know, 8 dowel. I had to punch out my flywheel because I wanted a forged crank. The only way you can buy an original forged crank is a Chinese one. So, and unfortunately they come 8 dowel. You can buy an original crank, but it's cast. So, and I wanted a forged unit. So, the reason why I didn't want a 1010 crank is because when you cut down the crank, your bearings become bigger. And me whacking the case out already, the bearings are pretty big. So yeah, I don't need the engine all being bearing. Anyways, this is all dry here. Now there is a trickle of oil coming down here, but it was from the oil built up behind the seal. And as soon as I pulled it off, it started trickling down here. But the rest of this case is all dry. It would be slinging oil all over the place back here. The back of the flywheel would be all wet. Yeah, I'm going to replace that seal, but I don't think that's the problem. I think it's our oil cooler spritzing oil all over everything. I don't know. We'll have to take that off and see. Looking at the oil cooler, I don't see anything wrong with it. It doesn't look broken or cracked. We could put a little pressure on it and see what happens. But I'm pretty sure what the problem is I had 40 horsepower seals in it. Like that, 40 horse seals in it. And you can see how schlocky they are in there. There's another set of seals that are like for smaller block holes also. And then there's another set that are identical that fit really nice and snug. And they also fit really nice and snug in your oil cooler top too, right there. Fit really well in there. So the problem is, I thought these were the correct seals. You got to understand something. I haven't been in one of these engines in a long time when I did this one, and I couldn't remember. So problem with this is the oil, is the seals were leaking. That's what's wrong with it. So I'm going to put a I'm going to put a front main seal in it, and I'm going to put some new seals on the oil cooler. We'll pressure test that a little bit. I'll just take and hold my hand over it, my finger over it, and put a little rubber, and I'll just put a little bit of pressure in it and see what happens. You will be able to see anything spritz out of it, but I don't see anything cracked or broken on the bottom. Doesn't mean it doesn't. So we'll do that. Wash all this down. Of course, we're going to use a little Permatex Aviation on that very lightly, and we'll wash everything down, and then we'll test run this. I should have known better that, you know, someone can improve on Volkswagen, and you can't. And Wolfsburg sells these silicone jobs, and they leak. So, yeah. So what I do is this is what I did on the red one, and the red ones don't leak. I paint up a little Permatex on them, on both sides, and I slap my gasket on, just like that. And then I take a dab of grease, and I go around this with a dab of grease, just a little light coat, and that grease will soak in there, and when you close that up, it'll make a really good seal. Now, of course, after about 30,000 miles, these cork gaskets get soaked on, or get turned to stone. So you have to scrape them down and start over again. But it's just a thing that you got to do. But these, and I've got the oil change gaskets also, and of course they leak. So yeah, that's why I've got to get this engine here together so I can use my engine stand, so I can get this one on it, turn it upside down, and fix all that crap underneath. When you put a new rear main seal in, I usually drive them in. I don't have a seal driver, but I just drive them in with a flat hammer. And then then I use a socket around the edge and just tap it in, and it'll go in until there's just a little lip right here. You see that little bit of a lip? That little bit right there. And some people, they just put them in flush, and the problem is your seal can, if you don't put it in all the way, it'll kind of get canted just slightly like that, and then you could open yourself up to the you know, it's wobbling. Essentially, the seal is going yeah, yeah, or the surface is going cockeyed on it, so it could tear it up some more. And then I put a little grease on my flywheel side, and I put a little on my seal side before I put it up there. Also, we're going to change the seal here as well. I'm waiting on a gasket set that's supposed to be delivered today, so, but we've got plenty of time. I did put my covers on. Although I do need to do a valve adjustment on this, it'll give them time to squeeze and the cement to set up. So now I'm putting together the sawmill engine just to get it off the stand so I can use it. I just don't want to put it down and have a bunch of parts just laying all over the place. That just irritates me. These push rod tubes, I put these on here, of course, because I can't get the heads off. I want to do some heat cycles. I got my tin in the mail. I made up my own little metal tins there, and also made one with a hole in it. Yes, for a rod for the thermostat. These seem to look pretty cool. They have an O-ring under this right here. They have a locking nut, and I used Permatex on every joint, every thread, that kind of stuff like that. I Permatexed the seals and the head and the actual unit, so it's messy, but it's done. This is pretty cool idea actually, because the oil will flow, and of course oil won't back up. It could, I guess, if you was racing around or turning your engine really, but this will work really well for what it is. I'm going to fix my oil strainer on the other one. I'm missing the cap nuts. I have some out in the barn. I have another plate that's not one of those empty things, and I have another drain plug, and I'm going to use I got some nylon stuff down to O'Reilly's, and paint that with some Permatex and put it all together. And another thing, I Permatex these things all together when I put them together. I know it's hell getting them apart and cleaning it. It doesn't leak though. Yeah, well, that's just me. You do it your way. This is how original my sawmill engine was. See those nuts? See the little conical ends on them? See those right there? See that? Those are dedicated nuts for exactly what I'm using this for. These are rocker nuts. Cool, huh? Okay, this is where this video ends. There's nothing I can do about it. I didn't get my seal kit, or my gasket kit, so I'm just lacking my little seal. That's all, but I'm not putting this thing together until I put one in there. I know better. I've got the oil plate on, the oil strainer, cleaned it, and put it all back together, and used the correct cap nuts and the correct plate and the correct nut. The new nuts do not come, the new plates, they come with a 19, and what this should be is a 21, the same size as your generator. I took my pressure relief valve out also, and made sure it was loose, made sure it wasn't stuck, and given the system the full bore. You can see how this side is quite dry, and this side is soaked with oil. So it's all coming from that oil cooler, pretty sure. Anyways, this is going to wrap this up until I get my parts, so there's not too much more I can do about it. What are you going to do, huh? Well, thanks for wrenching in my garage again. I appreciate y'all being here. Like and or subscribe, and hopefully we can get this bomb running before the car show next Saturday. Well, we'll see what happens. A week, we should be able to. All right, see y'all later.